All right, so this one is going to be a little bit controversial. I don't know, maybe controversial is the wrong word, but people are going to disagree with me on this one for sure. Because this is a topic that you're supposed to be uh, very fearful as a result of. AI, big and scary. That's what really smart people think. That's what really dumb people think. That's what you're supposed to think, right? Um, AI is big and scary. I say AI is a toy. I'm going to back that up. There's certain ways in which it is that people can't really argue with. Um, First, just a little background. Silly putty. Everybody knows silly putty. I hope that's true. I hope things haven't gotten so weird as far as like me being old that like kids these days don't know what silly putty is. But I'm pretty sure they know what it is because I go into stores, I still see silly putty being sold. So I would hope, I would hope kids know what silly putty is. All right, silly putty. Silly putty was originally, everybody knows this. I'm just recapping. Silly putty was a military technology that was considered useless. So I think they were trying to develop plastic explosives. I think that's what that was, and or like a new type of plastic explosive. And they made silly putty, and they're like, well, this isn't really going to work for what we were trying to use it for, but it's kind of fun. Could be a toy. So you got to remember that, like, a lot of times technology develops for military purposes and then we receive it way later. So they've got the good shit. And then we get the broken versions or whatever they have, the ganked versions, as you might call it. So how does that pertain to AI? That pertains 100% to AI. The AI that we play with is not the same AI that military, powerful people, etc., are playing with, for sure. Because this is just how life is. Okay, you're gonna be like, "Where's your proof?" Because that's what things are. That's how things are. If I'm a magician and you're a spectator that I bring up on stage, and I say, "Do as I do." Here, I'm gonna do a trick. You do the exact same trick right next to me, and it doesn't work for you, and it works for me. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Civilians just don't get the same shit. Sorry to say. I don't know in what world that would be a hot take. That should be something you learn very early on. Obviously not from school. You know, they're not going to tell you that, but somebody should sit you down and tell you, like, we're always playing with ganked shit as civilians. So military is better drones. Military is better everything. We just get, and I'm using military as a catch-all here, but we just get the broken, discarded shit. So apply that to AI. So already what we're being told to be fearful of, we're being told to be fearful of ganked shit. So people fear ChatGPT, Grok, all these things that they play with, OpenAI. But those aren't the things to be scared of. That's just silly putty. It's just silly putty. So when I say AI is a toy, that directly is what I'm talking about. And it's a ganked, broken version that someone was like, it's kind of fun though, and then gave it to us. Here's another way that AI is a toy. This was explained to me on Twitter, not personally explained to me, but I saw somebody talk about it. Blew my mind. Did not know this. Wish I had known this. Here's another, some of you will remember thing. There was this web browser game. I think it was called Akinator. Akinator. It's still around. I think that's the name. I'm not sure. Maybe I got that wrong. But it's close enough that if you Google it, it'll probably come up. So it was this thing. It was like a guessing game. It was like 20 questions where you try and stump the computer, basically. You think of an animal, mineral, or vegetable, much like in 20 questions, and it tries to guess it. It was very, very good at guessing it. It wasn't perfect, but it was impressively good. So what I found out, which I wish like everybody should know this, is that the guts of that, it's the same guts as AI today. AI today is just a more powerful processor version of Akinator, of 20 questions computer game. Um, that blew my mind. It's a toy. Akinator is a toy. You're stumping a computer. That's all you're trying to do. What are most people trying to do on AI? They're trying to stump a computer, and then when they stump it, the computer gets smarter. Next go around. It is just a game we're playing, but we're not actually like making. I don't want to say not actually, because I'm sure some of it trickles out, but we're not actually making AI as the elites, as the military, et cetera, plays with any smarter. They're making it smarter. We're making this little gamified toy version of it smarter. So yeah, I just gave you two examples why AI is a toy. Um, I could end the video right now, but what I want to talk about more than that is that, yeah, toys can be scary. What was that movie? Toys, I think. Like, what was that movie? Oh yeah, Toys. It's called Toys. It's the name of the movie. Toys, with Robin Williams, where it was about how they were making like. When I was growing up in the 90s, there was a lot of fear of like the kind of toys kids were playing with. This goes back to like the 70s because SNL was doing parody skits about like unsafe toys and stuff. But in the 90s, there was this idea of like the militarization of toys and the indoctrination towards the military by stuff like G.I. Joe. We're coming at the tail end of like the 80s, and like, so we're getting like the response to that. We're getting, essentially the liberal response to that. Not saying that's right or wrong, just saying that that's what that is. A response to militarization of toys and military cool and blah, blah, blah. So in the 90s, there was a movie Toys. One example of this kind of pervasive ideology to a certain point is this fear that these toys are turning kids into perfect soldiers. You saw that with video games. Very interesting point about that, by the way, with video games. The actual studies, the actual whatever shows that when games are social, it doesn't matter how violent they are, how militaristic, when they are social, it doesn't actually have an effect as far as desensitization or alienation or any of these things people are fearful of. It's actually fine. When people play violent video games by themselves, apparently it does have some effect. Maybe negligible, whatever. Some effect. Does have some negative effect on a person's psyche. But once it's a social game, once it's Call of Duty or whatever people are playing together on the internet, it's like fine. For some reason, the social aspect cuts into what people would be affected by. So anyway, yeah, people get scared of toys. That's fine because they want to know what kids are playing with. And yeah, your kid playing with AI, aren't there examples kids killing themselves literally because they talk to an AI? So there's dangers for sure. Yeah, lawn darts, throwing pointed darts, metal darts in the air. Somebody's going to get impaled. Although I'm not sure. That might not be a good example because I think that might have been one of those things that was overblown. I can't remember. But there have been examples of toys where like they recalled them for like no reason. And then there's toys where they recalled them for good reason. So yeah, I'm not saying that AI is like 100% not to be fearful of. I'm just saying that it's a toy. And when you think about it in terms of a toy, in regards to the fact that we're only playing with a toy version of it, we're not playing with the real shit. We as civilians, we get the toy version. We get the silly putty. AI that we play with is the silly putty. And the fact that, we're when we're using it technologically, This is really the point that I wanted to make. When we're using AI on a technological level to make quote unquote better movies, I'll say, because who knows, better, worse, more autonomously, or we can be our own studio a little bit better because we have access to AI. When we're doing that shit, it's important to remember we're using a toy. Okay. A lot of times I've been trying to explain to people that AI is a tool, and that's true. That is true because I've used AI as a tool on several projects of mine, not to generate ideas, just that when I do stuff like voice synthesis, like in the Fast Shark movies or obviously Stock Shark, the speech to text that I'm using for that has been enhanced and is much better than it ever was due to AI. So it's built on an AI backend. So it's improved a lot more than it has ever improved prior to AI on the back end of that. So like speech to text was like pretty shit for like the vast majority of my life. And then I got real fucking good once AI was involved. So props to AI, it improved that. So a lot of times I'm using stuff, like I said, like that, where AI is the back end. There's certain audio processing stuff just to sweeten audio, et cetera. Like the audio that I'm doing of this, to save time, I'm just uploading it to Auphonic. Uploading it to Auphonic, it's just cleaning up the audio for me, just because I don't physically want to sit around and process the audio for this video. So yeah, AI on the back end can make stuff run better sometimes. Sometimes it gives you shitty artifacts. The reason why is because it's not intelligent in like a real way. It's intelligent in like a toy way. It's a toy that I'm playing with. It's a good toy, but it's a toy. It's kind of like, you can do great art with a toy camera. You don't need a professional camera necessarily to take a good photograph or a memorable photograph. You can use a toy camera. That's just life. AI, you're playing with a toy. All right. So just have your expectations and your view of reality in the right respect here. Because really, at the end of the day, the thing we have most to fear, much like during from 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, we should have learned, hopefully, that our fellow man and restrictions imposed by our fellow man, especially those in positions of power, is more scary than the thing we're told to be scared of. So with AI, I'm scared of certain things, but I'm scared of human response. I'm scared of rights being taken away. I'm scared of restrictions on movement, thought, all these natural fears, right? I'm scared of that stuff. I'm not scared of AI itself too much. I don't subscribe to the belief that AI is a god that we're creating, but it's definitely a golden calf that we're creating. It's definitely a false god that we're creating. And there are absolute dangers to false gods. Whether it's McDonald's that people are going to and suddenly we're one of the sickest country, like developed countries in the world, or those golden arches being the golden calf I'm referring to. But the point is, there's plenty of stuff to fear, but it's mostly the human response to it. So yeah, we don't have to worry necessarily about AI in this us creating a God sense. We have to worry about what we do in response to that. Because what we're really worried about and should be worried about is AI as a boogeyman. It's like the movie The Village or any number of other fucking pieces of media where you get told to be scared of something because then you have control of someone else. That's the reason why you tell somebody to be scared of something that isn't real. A lot of this after 9/11, The Village came out specifically in the wake of 9/11, and that's part of the reason why those topics were swirling around the brain of M. Night Shyamalan is because he was seeing what was going on with the Patriot Act and what was going on with being fearful of terrorism as this like pervasive thing, which obviously terrorism is horrible, but we didn't really see much of it to the extent that we should have. And that was kind of flew in the face of the narrative to a certain extent, because what it really shone a light on was 9/11. You know, first of all, I'm not like, I think a lot of what we think happened on 9/11 absolutely happened. It's just, you know, what we knew, this is well documented by at this point, that we knew things in advance that we should have taken caution about. And there have been far too many examples of shooters, etc., henceforth, that were clearly on the FBI's radar. You know, they knew it was going to happen, and they maybe let it happen because they knew it was going to, you know, there's so many examples of this. Bringing this all back to, yeah, there's periods of time where you start talking about these sorts of topics more. AI is one of these times where we should be talking about the human response and the fake fear. Instead, we're talking about it on terms that the elites and those who control us want us to think about it. They want us to be afraid of the actual thing, you know, AI as the boogeyman, terrorism as the boogeyman, you know, so they can take our freedoms away. This shouldn't be a fucking revelation. I don't care what political aisle you're on the side of. It doesn't matter. These are universal things. So yeah, don't be scared of a fucking toy. Play with it responsibly. Every toy can injure you. When you're using AI as a tool in your creative process, remember that you're using a toy. Remember that you're not using some brand spangled great thing. There are better and worse ways to use it. As a tool, as some sort of thing that makes what you're trying to use anyway better. Like if I'm trying to use speech synthesis and AI is making it better than it would be without it, great, fucking cool, awesome. If I'm generating images through AI, like whole cloth, it's kind of crappy. Like I think that's like the most dated thing that you could possibly do. Like the ways that I've used speech synthesis, yeah, sure, it'll be a little dated to now and where AI was at with it. But it's going to age way better than these whole cloth images that you just have AI generate. That's like, because like, here's the thing, you can draw with crayons. You can draw what's the name? Brian Chippendale, the drummer for Lightning Bolt, who does those amazing crayon pieces of art. On I think one or two of the albums, but he also does just pieces in general. I think he did like a comic. I think it's Brian Chippendale. I'm not going to look it up because I don't want to have to look anything up right now. Brian Chippendale, great example using fucking crayons. You can use Crayola markers. You don't have to use Sharpies. You don't have to use fancy markers if you want to draw. You can draw with anything. All right. But the more kid-oriented the thing that you're playing with, the more toy-ish the thing, the more the more you'd have to do. Your skill has to be a little bit higher to get something usable out of it. Like Joel Haber did that great Ice Guys like anime video. I think there was like a slideshow with like AI generated images. I thought that came out really well, but that came out really well because Joel's really good. And his standards, when I say really good, I mean his standards for what he accepted from the AI were really high. The standards of what I accept for AI is really, really high. I'm not fucking blown away by it. I think of myself as up here and I think of AI as down here because I have discernment. You know, I'm looking at what it's giving me and I'm saying this sucks or this is good. This is not usable. This is usable. Some people who just don't have that bone in their body yet, they haven't developed that discernment. They just accept whatever pops out of there. You know, I see people post AI images. Here's a great example. During the election, The Trump images would come out perfectly well because there's so many images of Trump and it's highly requested when you're generating images. Trump images came out really well. Kamala images were dog shit. It didn't even look like her at all. Like it wasn't even close. It was just like a generic woman of, similar nationality, like similar, but like there was no, a skilled artist could draw a caricature of Kamala in like 2 seconds as compared to AI. The AI of Kamala was atrocious. It was because that wasn't like really a requested thing. So it wasn't developed in the same way. And it couldn't even play catch up that well to all these people requesting AI generated Kamala images. But the point I'm trying to make is people were posting those anyway. Okay. So you go on Twitter, you'd see these like generated Kamala AI things like as jokes or whatever. And it looks like shit, but they're totally blind to it. It's like Emperor's New Clothes. They're just like, yeah, cool. Look what I generated on AI. Because like just merely generating it is impressive to them. They weren't discerning. They weren't saying, it doesn't really look like Kamala. They're just like, yeah, it's cool, huh? Because it looks like a professional image. They're totally blind to the fact it doesn't even look like fucking Kamala. So yeah, that's what I'm saying is like your discernment is key. I think I've said everything that I wanted to say in this video, honestly. But yeah, it's just AI is a toy. Treat it as such, be, you can be an adult and play with kids' toys. That's like fine. You can be a professional photographer and play with a toy camera. But the key thing is here is the discernment. It's not going to be easier necessarily when you're creating with a toy. It's in fact with some toys it's harder. AI is a unique thing where it is kind of easier and harder at the same time. It's giving you something better than you would expect from a toy, but you also 100% need your own discernment and your own standards to do something good. Anyway, hope I said enough. Hope any of this was interesting. I have no idea. But yeah, I was just thoughts swirling, so I decided to make another one of these. Yeah, if you like these, I'll keep making them. I don't know if people like these. I will make more if you want them. I will not make them if you don't want them. All right. Thank you for watching. See ya.